Welcome to D-Lab, everybody. In this video I'm going to show you some snippets of a Bassman 50 repair. This amplifier came into the shop with numerous problems, but the major problem is one of the output tubes was running flaming hot. In this video you're going to see what caused that failure. Then I'll do my magic and we'll have a great sound Bassman again. We'll take a look underside of the Fender Bassman 50, starting with the eyelet board. You see we have a lot of bad connections. It appears as though when these components were replaced, new solder was not added. There are some wires that are disconnected. This is an installed jumper for some purpose. These two wires go to the abandoned master volume control. Take a look up here, you'll see that the output tube sockets have been replaced and they added the current sense resistors, but these are 1 meg resistors. They should have been 1 ohm resistors. So there's a lot of cleanup work to do here. These are the 6L6 output tubes made by JJ. You can see we've got quite the color difference on these tubes. Now the guy did replace the sockets, so I'm assuming he had a grid problem and this guy was going warp drive. I put it in the tube tester. It's only got about 20% emissions, so it's toast. This one actually measures pretty good. So what the plan is, I'm going to get in here and clean up these connections, verify the diagram against the Fender print, and breathe some life back into this amp. So as soon as I get the amp to operate and produce a signal, then I'll go in here and do things such as convert this bias balancing system into a variable bias system, and we'll go through and check components and replace things as needed. Alright, I repaired the wiring underneath and I wanted to give this amp an initial power up just to see if I got any sound out of it, and I noticed that this output tube was not lighting, whereas the other one was. I checked the connections underneath and they were fine. Now remember, these sockets were just replaced by the owner. So the original Fender ones are missing and these new porcelain ones are installed, which happen to be made by Ruby. So let me show you what I found. So what I suspect is that the tube socket pins themselves are not making connection with pins 2 or 7 of the 6L6, so it's not lighting it up. So I've taken a pin and soldered it to a wire so we can check pins 2 and 7 and see how these fit. So here is 1, and there's 2. It is going in, but if you look closely, these 2 prongs are not gripping the tube. They're actually rising above it. There's enough slop in that socket to where these little retainers are not doing their job. Alright, so 8, 7. That one actually tries to go between the prongs, but 2 obviously has an issue. And that is why we have intermittent connections on these new tube sockets. So I'm going to remove these rubies. I have a pair of these old stock Amphenols that luckily have the same cutout. They'll drop right in the position of these, and then I'll retest the amp. Okay, we have the new old stock Amphenol sockets installed in the Bassman. This is my 1 ohm current shunt resistors, both going to pin 8 of the output tubes. I replaced the filament wiring with 20 gauge military grade, and that's going to this terminal board being fed by the power transformer, and these light wires go to the front lamp. Alright, let's see what it sounds like. Alright, this is a test of the Fender Bassman 50 after repair, and remember the master volume has been removed from the circuit, so we obviously won't be testing that. We'll start on the normal channel. nice and chimey. Alright, let's go over to the normal channel. Sounds great. Sounds like a Bassman.